All right, what's up, Cadaver Pups? This is David here with a Minisode. We got Devin and Ygraine from What a Scream. Ygraine, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Happy to
Mhm.
celebrate Spooky Month at last.
Yeah, spooky season.
Yes,
Woo!
I have to make comment. First of all, thank you so much for being here. So happy to have you. But you're also wearing the coolest earrings right now. I wish
Thank
people could
you.
see them.
Like I would say it's like, oh, getting into the Halloween spirit, but this is me all year round. Like so.
Yeah. They're for those that can't see, they're black spider webs
Mhm.
and they just look great. Also match the red lipstick just
Yes.
perfectly. Love the entire look.
Thank you. I made an effort today, just for you.
Thanks.
So Ygraine has her own podcast, What a Scream, which I personally listen to quite a bit. You want to tell us a bit about it?
Sure. It's quite a new one. I started it off, God, February of this year to kind of combat like the lockdown kind of fatigue that was happening. And, my husband was just like, look, I can't deal with you talking anymore at me. Go find a hobby. So I decided to start a podcast where I could talk to people all over the world about horror movies and kind of, I randomly pick out a subject from like what I call my cup of terror. It's literally a cup with like paper subjects in, and I pick them out, and then I have to choose a film, and then my guest has to choose a film that has to do with that subject.
It's awesome.
I
You
love
did
it. It's
one.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one recently on Scream and Jennifer's Body that I had a lot of fun listening to. That
Oh
was
yes,
dissecting the yeah.
feminist horror. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we always do have like random. Like yesterday, I did a recording for like German expressionism horror. So there's like some really random topics in there.
And today we're going to be talking about our favorite spooky dolls. Not the spooky doll movies, but the dolls themselves. We have our top three listed for you. And let's start it off. Ygraine, what did you put as your number three?
My number three is such a typical one, and everyone's going to roll their eyes, but I don't care. It's Annabelle from the Conjuring universe.
Yes.
I mean, look, like some of the movies aren't that great, but Annabelle herself is creepy as fuck.
Yeah, you couldn't do
Yes,
a doll episode without mentioning Annabelle. Come on.
Yeah.
exactly. I think she is like the pivotal peak of everybody's idea of creepy doll. I mean, and it's really weird that like the original wasn't like the actual real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, which I kind of think is kind of scarier.
I do
Yeah, I
too.
was going to ask you which one you thought was scarier. Yeah, I feel like when they changed her look for the movie, I was like, this is weirdly less scary because they're trying too hard.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
similar to the Pennywise thing where when they updated Pennywise, they leaned into the scary ideas and that made it less scary.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, obviously they had to like make it a little bit creepier because, you couldn't really imagine this Raggedy Ann doll being like this little puppet scaring people. Uh, it kind of lessens it, but in the real world, it's a lot scarier.
Yeah, and like I mean, having grown up with Raggedy Ann dolls and like everyone had a Raggedy Ann doll around the house, like that would be so scary is to like remember your childhood toy and then watching a movie where it's literally a demon possessing the doll. Yeah, that would be too scary for me though.
Yeah.
What do you think of the movies themselves, the trilogy?
Obviously, it came from like the first Conjuring, and it was really weird because Annabelle was the star of the first Conjuring, despite the fact she's only in it for like 10 minutes at the beginning. The actual Annabelle films, they were okay. I think what was it? The second one was like Annabelle
Yeah.
Creation. Was that the
Yeah.
second one? Or Annabelle Origins? I thought that one was a lot scarier than the first Annabelle. And then Annabelle Comes Home was a bit more like it's kind of about Annabelle, but it's not really. It's more about the Warrens' freaky basement thing they got going on. So I always feel myself to be a little bit disappointed by the Annabelle films. And I think it was a lot scarier when we didn't know a lot about her. And it was more just like the first Conjuring, where we were just a bit creeped out by her.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree completely. Devin has heard me defend Annabelle Creation before quite adamantly. Um,
Yeah.
I really like that director. He like started as a YouTube director that did the Lights Out short, and then he
Oh
made the
yeah,
Lights Out movie, and then he got
Oh, is
Annabelle
it
yeah,
Creation,
fitting?
then he got
yeah.
Shazam. It's David F.
David,
Sandberg.
that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I really loved Lights Out. I loved his short and I loved the feature film he did. And then I felt like he brought a lot of that on for Annabelle Creation. And so I think that's why it was probably good, because it had a really good director behind it.
The origin story aspect of it, the period part, works really well, I think. Feels more dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a little angry on it just because I was a fan of the Warrens until I discovered more about them, but because no one actually knew where Annabelle came from, so the backstory felt more fabricated. And so when I first saw it, I was like, this isn't like technically true. So I had issues with it, but like I totally respect that it's a good film for like storytelling and direction wise. My fandom inside of me was the combative part.
Devin, what do you put?
Okay, I have a random one, but when thinking about dolls, and I guess they count as dolls, I'm going to count them as dolls. The action figures from Small Soldiers. That movie, like, it gave me so many nightmares as a child. I don't know why. I was so terrified of this film, and I was like, I can't not rank them because they scared me so much, and like were so like a staple of my childhood horrordom. And it's Joe Dante, so I'm going to say that it counts.
I never saw it. Is it a horror movie?
Well, I was terrified.
Ygraine's just shaking her head. She's like, no, this is not a horror movie.
It's a kids movie. It was basically like Toy Story before Toy Story came out. And
well, I did consider putting down a doll from Toy Story. It's the creepy spider baby thing.
Oh, that's the first one. Yeah,
I thought about putting that one down.
Look, as a kid, who's to define horror? If we're going to talk about the breadth of the genre, what is horror movies when you're a child? It's something that scares you, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
You have all your Scooby-Doo was my gateway drug. Small Soldiers was yours.
All right. Well, David, what did you put for your number 3?
So I considered the Toy Story thing, but I had to give it. This isn't from a movie, but it's Talking Tina from the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen any of the Twilight Zone, so this is new to me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
this is like I think this might be where the creepy living doll trope might have originated. I'm not sure about that, but I think it is. It's about just they have this doll that is alive.
I'm talking Tina.
The whole thing is that the doll is able to speak, but it starts like saying creepy things. Maybe it's a little bit vengeful when people treat it like a doll and not a living being. Then the famous line, I'm talking Tina, and you'd better be nice to me. And it's like, oh my God, this is so great. It's so creepy.
It's so cool. Well, because it was also came out around the time that like dolls started getting those voice boxes and starting doing all these like really cool things. And so it kind of says a lot about like toy technology at the time. And my mom was so scared of this episode and she would talk about it all the time. And she would, I don't know why, but when I had dolls, she would do the voice and like they would freak me out. It was my mom's like favorite thing to do.
So it's almost like this might have originated the trope just because the technology was new at the time. So it was kind of picking up on this new trend. It's like when we have modern day horror movies about the internet. It's like, what's this new thing? We're so scared of it.
What's this new talking doll?
Also voice boxes now. Oh my.
Oh, if only they could see today where they're like somersaulting and painting and like connecting to the internet, which is a whole nother scary thing.
Yeah, that's definitely like a Black Mirror episode, isn't it?
Yeah. That'll be the new doll trope.
Yeah.
All right. Ygraine, what was your number 2?
My number 2 is another James Wan creation, and he seems to have a thing for dolls. It is Billy the Puppet from his film Dead Silence.
Oh,
wait, Billy the Puppet from Dead Silence? Isn't Billy the Puppet from from Saw?
As well. So he's also got a film called Dead Silence. It's one of his lesser known films, and it's about this ventriloquist used to make these dummies and she died, and now there's this big legend about, the legend of Mary Shaw. And one day this guy gets a ventriloquist puppet sent to him, and it turns out whoever gets sent this puppet, death follows them, and the puppet is called Billy. It's downright terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
He's so creepy. Just like The classic design of his that makes him seem like he actually existed in that world, and it felt realistic in a way.
Yeah. And then the whole thing is that she made these puppets, she made pieces of puppets out of like real kids' eyeballs and, you know, all this kind of thing. So it's really creepy. It's proper like nightmare fodder. And I just reckon James Wan must have had like a really bad childhood when it came to dolls.
I wonder,
His Twitter handle is creepy puppet, so he's very much aware.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's even got a Annabelle cameo in Aquaman, I think. Yeah, I thought about a different part of Dead Silence. I don't want to give it away because there's a really cool ending to this movie.
Yes.
And something in that almost made my list. Dead Silence is a really underrated movie.
It is, yeah. I think more people need to check it out. Like, especially for spooky season, it's just perfect. It's got like a little bit of the gothic and then a little bit of that classic like James Wan scare.
That's a good one. That's freaky as hell. For my number 2, this one I actually had to keep as a classic, David. I had to do the clown from Poltergeist. It just...
Yeah, I knew you were gonna have that.
Yeah, it's not my number 1, but like it's too freaky of a clown. The one that strangles Robbie, partially also freaky because he actually did almost die on set. The clown literally almost did kill him.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Like, I knew Poltergeist was like one of those cursed films, but like I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was doing the scene and then they were like, "Oh man, you're doing great. You're like acting so well. You really look like you're choking." And no one realized he was actually choking until his face turned blue. So scary. And he would have been like the third kid to die. Like all 3 of them would have died.
God.
Damn, yeah. Fuck.
Freaky shit.
Wow.
But that clown, definitely, like, I love this movie so much. I will talk about it several times on this podcast, but that scene I definitely would always close my eyes to and could not look at clowns for the longest time.
Yeah, clowns are terrifying enough, but when you make them into a creepy clown doll, that's just like, no, that sends me. I'm dead. Like, no, absolutely
Over the top.
I don't do clowns. That's my thing.
I don't know of any child who actually enjoys clowns. I think that they are more of a horror trope at this point than the making kids happy, because no one thinks clowns are funny or happy. Sorry, apologies to the clowns that listen to this podcast. Like Rob.
Did it start with John Wayne Gacy? Like, what changed when the clown suddenly became scary? Or was
it was John Wayne Gacy that changed everything about clowns. Before, they were always seen as like kind of children's entertainers and like circus and happy, and then John Wayne Gacy fucked everything up.
I don't know, I feel like they were always scary.
All right, David, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Tiffany. Tiffany Valentine. I had to go there. You guys knew that we were hitting this franchise sooner or later on this episode. Tiffany is fucking brilliant. Jennifer Tilly is amazing. I'm really excited to see her back again in the Chucky TV series, which is, I think that's about to come out when we release this.
Hell yeah.
I have to revisit. Like, I've seen the most recent Chucky, but it's been such a long time since I've revisited like the original. There's like Chucky, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky. Is that it?
Yeah,
it's Chucky. It's Child's Play is
Child's Play. Sorry.
Then Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. Then the remake, which people don't like, but they're wrong.
It's so
the
good.
Is
it's
great.
So good.
But it's not really Chucky. When we talk about Chucky, that's a different character who I would probably be at like number 5 or something on my list, because I still like that movie. And if you don't, then just watch it with a fresh eye. Don't think of it as a Child's Play movie. Just approach it as its own thing. It's a lot of fun. The gore is great.
Yeah.
And now they're doing the Chucky TV series, which is the Chucky, the real Chucky.
Yeah.
It's Don Mancini coming back and writing it. Don Mancini has written every single one of the core Chucky movies.
Yeah. See, I think I always viewed the Chucky franchise or Child's Play franchise as more of like a horror comedy. So I was always just a bit, and I'm not big into horror comedy, so I was always like, meh. That's why I was never really into them.
I think the originals aren't. The first 3, I think, are more straight up horror. Once you get into Bride of Chucky, it definitely does become horror comedy, very
Mhm.
outright, and I really
Mhm.
enjoy that, which is why Tiffany is my
Yeah.
number 2, because I think she's freaking hilarious.
She is, and she's badass, and she's like, I know what I want, I'm gonna go get it, and I'm tired of being
Mhm.
abused by a man, and blah blah. And like, I mean, that relationship is so fucked in the first place, and I guess they
Yeah,
do get back
completely.
together. But anyway, she does it with some power behind her, and so I respect it. I had Tiffany as my number 1.
Nice. Rob had Tiffany as his number 3.
Oh yeah. So what were
Yeah.
Rob's 3s and 2s?
He gave Tiffany as his number 3, and his number 2 was the voodoo doll in Trilogy of Terror, which I have not seen.
Nope, neither have I.
Awesome. Well,
Great,
Rob,
well-
you're gonna have to talk about it at some point and tell us why. What did he have for his number 1?
Yeah, Rob's number 1 was Fats from Magic with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, that's
haven't
a
seen
good
that.
one. Oh man, it's such a hidden gem. I love this movie. It's like it's Anthony Hopkins from the 70s. It's about a ventriloquist who is suffering a mental break, I will say. I don't want to give too much away from about it, but like it's so well done. The performance is insane, and I still don't know if he actually did the ventriloquy voice. Did he do the voice of Fats, the doll?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did the voice.
It's so creepy. That's such a good one. Yeah, that one. I mean, just ventriloquy in general tends to be a scary trope in the horrordom. I mean,
It's a
Dead
very
silence.
young Anthony Hopkins before he won 2 Oscars for 2 different horror movies, the only actor to ever do that. People will challenge me on this, but The Father is a horror movie. Magic is like, it's interesting because I feel like most creepy doll movies are a little less serious. They're a little more like just silly, and this one is not. This one is definitely very dark, very brooding. It's more of a slow burn.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out then.
it's great. All right, so
Number
Ygraine,
1
what
time.
was your number 1? Yeah.
So my number 1 is an episode of the X-Files. It is the China doll from the episode Chinga. I remember when I first came across this, I was upstairs and I came downstairs and my parents were watching the episode on the TV and I just happened to see it. Like I was getting a glass of water and the sight of this China doll just terrified me.
Oh no.
Like left me scarred. The whole episode, there's this little girl who like causes people to hurt themselves, and it turns out it's the China doll doing it. And anytime she's about to kill someone, she goes, "Let's have fun," and then like her eyes open up. Oh my god, no! I watched it again like 2 nights ago, and I was still really creeped out by it.
How
Wow.
old were you when you first saw it?
That must have been about 4 or 5.
No. Oh my god, prime terror age.
Yeah, terrified. And then it's because I had a great aunt who collected China dolls as well.
No.
And when she died, she left China dolls to me. And
No.
I was like, no, put them in the attic, get rid of them. I don't care. I'm not having them.
Are they still in your attic?
They are. They're in my dad's house. And I'm just
Are
like,
you
nope.
sure they're still there? Oh, that's a good one. See, I love when you choose ones that are like so personal to you because of I'm still sticking by small soldiers, guys. Look. Someone out there has to agree with me. Okay, I already said my number 1. It was Tiffany.
You did.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. So I guess David, I have
kind
no
of
idea what your number 1
shocked.
is.
Yes, you do. Come on.
What?
I'm like, Tiffany made 3 of our lists. Am I really the only one who picks Chucky?
Okay. It felt like an obvious choice. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's Chucky. So for those who don't know, Chucky is actually Charles Lee Ray, who is a serial killer that before he was shot, he did a voodoo ritual to possess a random doll that a woman gave to her child on his birthday. And he's a serial killer possessing a doll. It's fucking awesome.
What I couldn't ever work out was like, he's such a small little doll. Could you not have just drop kicked him out a window? Like, it just seems a bit like far-fetched. Like, I know if like a doll came at me, I'd just like, you'd just be like putting your hand against his forehead and being like, nah, not today, mate. Like, just
Well, you can, but like the thing is that dolls are actually kind of tougher than human skin a lot of the time. Like it can survive that fall. He does start to become human though over the course of the movie, which is weird but cool. I mean, if we're looking at the original film, I think the creepiest scene ever is when the mom, Karen, her son Andy is being taken away. He's at the police station right now. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Did he kill the babysitter? I don't know. And then she's like looking at the box, like, ugh, rolls her eyes, throws the box down, and the batteries pop out of it. And she's like, wait, what? She turns around Chucky, opens the battery pack, sees it's empty, and then he just twists his head around and tries to strangle her. And it's freaking fantastic. I'm like, I love this scene.
He's just fun. And I mean, voiced by the amazing Brad Dourif, he brings a creepiness to that doll that is unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, if I give Chucky or Child's Play anything, it is Brad Dourif. Like he is really creepy in The Exorcist 3, and like, yeah, he'd probably be like the highlight for the Child's Play film for me, anyway. But I just can't get over like this little baby doll, practically a baby doll. Like I'm like, oh, no, like if you saw what I did to my Barbies when I was a kid, no, Chucky would be no match.
I think that's why it works, because the characters in the movies don't expect any of this to be real. They don't look at this doll and see a threat. It doesn't register as something that they need to be cautious of. So when he starts killing them, they're like, what is happening? It can't be this doll. That doesn't make any sense. You guys are crazy.
Who do you think would win in a fight, Chucky or Annabelle?
Well, Annabelle is not really the doll. Like, it's a spirit that's attached to the doll, but the doll itself is actually just a doll.
So then she could probably win then, right? Because then you can't physically kill her. Chucky you can kill.
Yeah.
All right, I have to answer though. Ygraine, you said which one, and I still think Tiffany would kick both their asses.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I haven't thought this much about scary dolls in a while. So.
I feel like researching this episode, I'm gonna have so many nightmares from looking at all the creepy dolls and being like, which ones terrified me the most? Let's explore these past traumas. Small soldiers.
I think that just about wraps it up. You should follow us at cadaverdogspod. And Ygraine, where can they find What a Scream?
You can find me at what_scream on Twitter.
Sweet. And you should listen to that podcast. It's pretty great. I'm going to be on in a couple of weeks talking about another famous slasher franchise.
Yeah, we're doing a deep dive on Halloween for Halloween season.
I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited for you guys to do that one. Thank you so much for coming on. It was such a blast to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Until next time, woof out.